I've always been fascinated by the Victoria Cross. Stories of heroism, men defying odds, saving lives, taking lives in many cases, and having their actions rewarded with something that money can't buy. The respect of the country, the government, and the monarch. There have been 1,358 VCs awarded to 1,355 individuals. So there has to be a first, right? Question is, who was the first? Well, it all depends on how you justify the first. There are potentially 3 candidates, depending on how you justify it. And this is what this video intends to look at. So, do you justify it by the first person to actually receive his medal, the first person that people were told about were going to receive the medal, or the earliest Victoria Cross action that actually took place? In theory, these should all be the same person, shouldn't they? The first. But they weren't, for all sorts of reasons. Candidate number 1 is this guy, Cecil Buckley. He was the first to have his award gazetted. That's what they call it when it's officially written in the London Gazette. So it's the first that people back home heard about. Candidate number 2 is Henry Raby. He was the first to actually physically receive his medal from Queen Victoria. Candidate number 3 is Charles Lucas, who was awarded the medal for the action that occurred before any other action. So to work out who the first one was, let's get to know the men a bit better. Cecil William Buckley was born on the 7th of October 1828 in Lancashire, England. He joined the Royal Navy at the age of 15 in 1843 and was promoted to lieutenant in January of 1850. He was awarded his Victoria Cross for 2 actions that both took place in 1855, one in May and one in June. He led 2 attacks on enemy food and weapon stores, as well as sabotaging various government buildings, all while under very heavy enemy fire and often out of range of his own covering fire. He eventually rose to the rank of captain, but died of cancer on the 7th of December 1872, aged just 44. He was buried in Portugal. Our second contender is Henry James Raby, born on the 26th of September 1827 in France. He was actually the son of a Welshman, but anyway. He joined the Royal Navy in 1842 and was commissioned a lieutenant in 1850. On the 18th of June 1855, Raby was fighting in the siege of Sevastopol during the Crimean War. Sources differ as to whether he was a lieutenant or a commander, but either way, his action was no doubt heroic. He saw a soldier shot through both legs and fall into no man's land. Raby led 2 sailors over the parapet, dashed through 70 yards of enemy fire to carry back this wounded soldier. Raby continued to serve in the Navy and served all over the world before retiring with the rank of Rear Admiral. And he finally died in Southsea, England on the 13th of February 1907, aged 79. Our third contender for the title is Charles Davis Lucas, who was born in Ireland on the 19th of February 1834. He joined the Royal Navy at the tender age of 13 and saw action at the age of 18 in the Second Anglo-Burmese War. On the 21st of June 1854, he was serving as a mate on HMS Hecla during the bombardment of the fort of Bomersund in the Crimean War. During the battle, a Russian shell landed on the deck of Hecla, with its fuse still hissing. Captain William Hall ordered all hands to get down, but Lucas ignored the order and ran towards the hissing shell, picked it up and threw it overboard. Accounts say that the shell exploded before it hit the water, so it's safe to say it was a close run thing. Some accounts say that nobody was injured, some say that 2 men were lightly wounded by the explosion. Either way, he saved lots of lives and possibly the ship. Captain Hall immediately promoted Lucas to lieutenant. Lucas would go on to reach the rank of captain himself before retiring from the Navy in 1873. In 1878, he was summoned to the deathbed of his former commander, the now Admiral Sir William Hall, who had 2 requests for him. One was to look after his soon-to-be widow, Hilaire Hall, and the other was to marry his only daughter, Frances Hall. Yeah. This he did, and the couple went on to have 3 daughters. Lucas himself was eventually promoted to Rear Admiral on the retired list before dying on the 7th of August 1914, aged 80. On the 26th of June 1857, Queen Victoria herself awarded the first 62 Victoria Cross medals at a ceremony in Hyde Park, London. There were 111 VCs awarded for the Crimean War, and the other 49 couldn't attend the ceremony in person because many of them were either sick or serving overseas at the time. But they had theirs posted to them with a letter dated 26th of June. Medals are awarded by the order of importance, and the VC is the highest in order, but when all the recipients are receiving the medal, it comes down to rank and service. The Navy is the most senior service, so they come first. Raby was the most senior officer present, so he was awarded his medal first. So the story goes that Queen Victoria was mounted on a horse at the time, because she was only quite small, and was unused to pinning medals on people. The story goes that she actually stabbed Raby in the chest with the pin. He accepted the medal and the pain without so much of a twitch of his moustache. In the finest traditions of the senior service. I've just trimmed mine so I can't twirl it anymore, that's annoying. So now you're thinking, well, the other 2 were also navies, so where were they in the order? Well, Lucas was actually 4th in the line, so he physically received his medal 4th. Buckley was serving overseas at the time, so he wasn't even there. Of the letters sent out to the 111 recipients, he's listed as 82nd. His VC was only gazetted first because his name was first alphabetically in a list of about 85 recipients. The normal way to decide who was the first recipient is by the date of their action, which puts Lucas as the first person to be awarded the British Empire's and now the Commonwealth's highest award for gallantry. If you're interested in where the other 2 come in the order, well, Buckley was 67th and Raby was 79th. That's the order of the events of their actions. Now, the VC is well known to be made of bronze cut from Russian guns captured at the Siege of Sevastopol in 1855. One notable YouTube historian who wears a lot of beige, yes, I'm talking to you, Colonel Beige of the Army Dental Corps. I see your beige sun hat or pith helmet and I raise you the pith helmet of the 24th Regiment of Foot. Yes. Pointed out that all VCs cannot be made from the same bronze, because the same lump of bronze, because Lucas was awarded his medal for Bomersund in 1854 and the guns hadn't been captured then. I put it to you, Lindybeige, that he could, because the medals weren't physically handed out by Her Majesty until 1857, a year after the war was over. Seriously, any excuse to wear this thing, I will take it. So, this idea came to me last night, in fact. A very quick video, this, well, for my standards anyway. I suddenly thought, well, there's got to be one man that was the first to be awarded, but then I worked out that it's not necessarily that easy, depending on how you define it. As I say, there's at least 3 possibilities, but there can only be one first. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if there's any other candidates for the first Victoria Cross that you can think of, any that I've missed. I hope you enjoyed this, much shorter video than usual, I hope, depending on how I edit it. Bye for now.